we're back. Welcome to my final video of the Nations League group stages. This is going to be my video for all of the predictions for tomorrow's final Nations League matches. If you want to see my predictions for today's Nations League matches, you can check out that by clicking the link at the top of your screen right now. But it has to be said, last night ended in such disappointment because with just 10 minutes to go in the second round of matches, we had every single game right. We got both of the early fixtures right. We were on 4 out of 4 for the second round of matches. And then Slovenia equalised against Austria with just 10 minutes left, which ended in that game, resulted in a draw. And then we got both matches later on in the night wrong. So fair play to Israel. I did mention that I thought Israel could get something against Belgium. Sadly, it wasn't enough for them to overhaul them. But I have to hold my hands up and say fair play to France. They finally effectively turned up at this Nations League, got a great away win against Italy, which actually saw them jump above them in the quarter-final seeding. So it'll make the knockout stages very interesting there. But sadly, after what looked like it was going to be an amazing night, we did only end up with 5 out of 8 with no correct scores, which means our Nations League results now tally at 64 out of 127, 1 off 50%, which is really annoying. But does again just keep proving how tough this Nations League is to call. And we have 11 correct scores going into the final day of predictions. If you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if you're new around here. We'll, of course, be bringing back all of the Premier League, Champions League, Europa, etc., etc., coming up for you over the course of the next few weeks. But without any further ado, let's get into these final 9 matches of the Nations League group stages before we say bye-bye to international football until March. And we'll kick things off, as always, with League D, and it is now the turn of Group 2, where you will see that this group is already over. Whatever happens, I've actually covered up the name, so apologies for that. But it is going to be Malta taking on Andorra in this final match. But whatever happens here, this group is already decided. Moldova have the superior head-to-head over Malta because they won the aggregate 2-1. So even if Malta win this match, even though they'll both be on 9 points, Moldova will stay in the automatic promotion spot. And obviously, Malta are 6 points ahead of Andorra already, so a win for Andorra here would mean absolutely nothing. Also, it has to be noted that Malta won the away game, and Andorra haven't scored in this Nations League so far, and Malta also got a 2-0 win over fellow League D side Liechtenstein in a friendly at the weekend. So all signs point to a Malta win here. They may make some changes, of course, given the fact that this game essentially means nothing. But being at home, I expect them to get the result. I'm going for a 2-0 victory to Malta. From League D, we move to League C, where again, this group is essentially already over. Azerbaijan can't overtake Estonia because of the inferior head-to-head record. Estonia can't catch Slovakia, and Slovakia can't overhaul Sweden because of the inferior head-to-head record. That said, there is one side that still has a smidge of something to play for, and that is Azerbaijan. As we've mentioned a lot over the course of these videos, there is that League C mini table for the relegation down to League D. So a win for Azerbaijan would be massive in helping them avoid automatic relegation to League D, because 4 points could be enough to see them in the relegation playoffs rather than the relegation automatic. However, it has to be said that Estonia and Azerbaijan going into these matches are both travelling away to the top 2 sides in this group. So it's not really looking good for them. Slovakia won 1-0 in Estonia. Sweden won 3-1 in Azerbaijan. Going into the Estonia-Slovakia game, which we'll quickly cover first, Slovakia are without their first-choice goalkeeper, Martin Dubravka, and have, I can never say his first name, but Skriniar suspended for them. And look, maybe Estonia could produce something if Slovakia make more changes than that, given the fact that they are already there. But surely, being at home, the expectation is that Slovakia get the result here. I'm going to go for a 3-0 victory. It might be a bit less. For me, it was a toss-up between 2-0 and 3-0. But I'm going for 3-0 because the pressure's off. And then realistically, Estonia have nothing to play for themselves. So 3-0 to Slovakia. As for Sweden, again, the expectation is that the Swedes are going to make changes to their starting lineup. It's expected that Isak and Gyökeres are both going to be left out since they have busy schedules coming up and they're playing for big teams, and you don't really want to risk your key players getting injured in a match that means absolutely nothing. That said, again, even though Azerbaijan are going to be fighting to avoid automatic relegation, Sweden did get the 3-1 victory away from home. Sweden have been very, very good. They're unbeaten in this group so far. Azerbaijan are only on 1 point, and I just think whatever happens, it's still going to be a Swedish victory. For me, again, toss up between 2-1 and 3-1. I'm going for a 3-1 victory to Sweden. From a group that is already decided to a group that has absolutely everything on the line. It is League B, Group 1, where look at that table. 8-7-7-5. We will talk about Albania and Ukraine first because these sides both have to win. Albania cannot afford a draw because they have an inferior record to Georgia and an inferior record to the Czechs, whereas Ukraine, if they don't win, they are automatically relegated. A draw will only see them go 1 point behind. Well, it won't even see them do that. It'll be 1 point behind Georgia, assuming Czechia win. So Ukraine simply have to win. What is worth noting is that Ukraine are actually unbeaten in their last few matches. They've been grinding out results, but it's still not been enough to see them overhaul the sides that are above them in the table. Albania have also been relatively good over the last couple of games as well. So it's so tough to call. Dovbyk did make that game for Ukraine against Georgia that ended up being a 1-1 result, but I just don't think they're going to have enough. Albania haven't conceded in either of their last 2 matches, which if they do tonight, like I say, it should, well, definitely be enough to see them see off Ukraine, but it won't be enough for them to get to the next stage. It's so tough to call this. My expectation is that Albania will be more aggressive because they do have to win, but I just think it's going to be a very cagey affair. I can see this being a game full of yellow cards as both sides kind of scramble for every loose ball because they know they both have to win. If I had to pick a side to win it, I'd probably just edge it in favour of Albania, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, which ultimately is no good to either of them unless, of course, the Czechs do beat Georgia, in which case Albania's draw would be enough to see them sneak into the promotion playoff. For the Czechs, they know that victory will guarantee them top spot in the group. For Georgia, they know that a victory will guarantee them top spot in the group. A draw would be enough for the Czechs because even if Albania win, Czechs will then still be in the promotion playoff. But obviously, you don't want to be in a promotion playoff. You want the automatic promotion. That said, the Czechs are going to be without Tomas Souček and without, I think it's Chorny, the striker, and they are missing Patrick Schick, who is also unavailable as well. So they could be struggling in front of goal. Meanwhile, the Georgians have no players missing for this game, so all eyes, as always, are going to be on Kvaratskhelia. It's also worth noting that the Czechs haven't lost since Matchday 1. They have been absolutely faultless since Matchday 1, but Matchday 1 was a 4-1 victory to Georgia. So there is so much, again, going on into this match. Both of these matches in this group are so tough to call. The final thing that is worth mentioning is that the Czechs have not lost at home since September 2022 and are unbeaten in their last 10 at home. So I think they're just going to have enough. Whether or not Georgia can get a draw, I think that could be the key thing here. But for me, the Czechs are still the favourites. They're the group leaders for a reason. They'll be looking for revenge for the 4-1 defeat. I'm going for a narrow 2-1 victory to the Czechs in this one, which would see them top the group and Albania just nip above Georgia into a promotion playoff spot. From there, we move to the other group in League B, and this is Montenegro, Turkey, Wales and Iceland, where the opening game has something to play for the Turks and absolutely nothing to play for Montenegro, which, to be honest, just makes this prediction a little bit easier to call. Yes, Turkey only won the reverse fixture 1-0, but Montenegro have got 0 points. They've only got 1 goal. Jovetic is apparently still unavailable for this one. They've also lost Marasic now through suspension, so 2 of their big name players aren't going to be available for this one. Turkey, to be fair, do have a few injury concerns in their defence, but the offensive line is fully fledged. They are ready to go. They needed to win just to guarantee it. If they draw, then if Wales beat Iceland, we go into this like head-to-head mini league. So thank you for pointing that out to me in yesterday's video. It goes into like a head-to-head mini league between how Wales and Turkey did against Iceland and Montenegro. So Turkey will definitely need to win this just to guarantee them that top spot. But against a side that's on 0 points, realistically, this is Turkey's game to lose. I said it was 1-0 in the reverse fixture. I'm going to go for 2-0 here. Could still be 1-0, but ultimately I still think Turkey get the win, which means that Wales are going to have to get themselves the win to give themselves any chance of overhauling Turkey, even though the likelihood is that Turkey will win. A draw will be enough for Wales, which is what they've been doing so far in this competition. Wales are unbeaten. Yes, it's been 3 draws, but remain unbeaten in this final game, and they have themselves a promotion playoff to League A. For Iceland, the task is simple. Win. Win, or you're in a relegation playoff. And that's why I kind of like this Nations League structure. Yes, there's a lot of games to be played, but there is always something on the line. If Iceland win, they're in a promotion playoff. If Iceland don't win, they're in a relegation playoff. So I do like that. I do like that concept of things. Iceland, of course, are a team that is pretty decent away from home, but they do have injuries to key players. They're going to be missing Thomason. They're going to be missing Gunnarsson. Whereas Wales, to be fair, do have absentees themselves, but not to any key players. It's the life of Kiefer Moore and players like that. Not your actual big-name regular starters for Wales that are missing for this one. My expectation is that Wales do come out on top here. They do need to win to apply pressure to Turkey. Granted, both games are going to be played at the same time. For me, it's either 2-1 to Wales or a 1-1 draw. I'm going for 2-1 to Wales. And then the final group of the final day of the Nations League has absolutely nothing on the line because Bosnia can't catch Hungary. Hungary can't overtake the Netherlands because of the inferior head-to-head. And the Netherlands can't catch Germany because they're so many points behind them. So the expectation is that all 4 sides are going to be making changes going into this game because all 4 sides have players that you don't want to see picking up injuries in a game that means nothing. Going into it, the expectation for the Bosnia against Netherlands game is that realistically, Bosnia have just been spanked in every single game so far. It was a 5-2 victory for the Dutch in the reverse fixture. The Dutch are likely to make changes, but they have a plethora of attacking options available to them. Players that haven't been playing, of course, in the other matches as well. I still think the Dutch are going to get the victory. I'm going to go for 3-1. Could be like a 3-2, 4-2 sort of situation. Bosnia do tend to be good for a goal. But again, look at the goal scoring record and the goals conceded record for Bosnia so far. 12 goals for the Dutch, 16 conceded for Bosnia. Surely the Dutch still get the win here. And then finally, it is Hungary taking on Germany. Germany off the back of the 7-0 victory over the Bosnians. Hungary off the back of the 4-0 defeat to the Dutch. Again, the expectation is both sides are going to be making changes here. One guaranteed change for the Germans is that Jonathan Tah is suspended. The expectation is the previously suspended Schlotterbeck comes back in for him. For Hungary, I think the expectation is that Szoboszlai will be rested, given that Liverpool's schedule coming forward is massive for them and they don't want to lose Dominik Szoboszlai. Certainly do the Hungarians not want to lose Szoboszlai, given the fact that in March they're going to have a relegation playoff. So I don't think he will play. If he does, going back to Germany, then who knows? I might say going back to Germany against the Germans, where he, of course, came from at Leipzig. We'll see. But I'd be surprised if Szoboszlai does play in this one. I still think the Germans come out on top here. I think they could play their full second-string team and still blow the Hungarians away with how well they're playing under Nagelsmann at the moment. It was a 5-0 victory for the Germans in the opening match against the Hungarians. I'm going to go for a 4-1 victory to them here. And that is going to be it for the Nations League until March. There is all of your final predictions going into the final day. As always, let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. I still think this is a tough day to call. With so many groups already decided, those matches do go up in the air a little bit. With the games in League B so tight to call, then they're obviously very tough to predict as well. But I'm pretty confident with what I've gone for here. Hopefully, we'll end the Nations League with a plus 50% record. But it's been so hard to call. Well done, UEFA, for producing such a difficult tournament to predict. Albeit, it's kind of messed up the club season so far. But a final thank you very much for watching. And again, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I will be back at some point this week, probably doing my sort of Ruben Amorim, let's get ready Manchester United video. And then Premier League predictions, as always, return on Friday. I will see you there.